Hello, did you know that Halberdiers deal over twice more damage in Phalanx formation? But first thing first, Halberdiers are Silver Era unit unlockable in the Infantry unit tree. They can be promoted to Langsnacks via Season 6 challenges, but unlike other promotion units, they are very strong even in the base form. They also have a movement speed and damage upgrades in the unit tree, so if you have spare honor, then remember to grab them. Halberdiers have solid base stats, but their main strength lies in their brace. It improves their DPS and depending on formation you use, it provides additional effects. In loose or F1 formation, your Halberdiers will deal continuous low damage to enemies in range. Additionally, they will stab them with very low attack speed and damage slightly higher than the base one. But the main point of this formation is extremely high impact damage against fast moving foes. This, paired with the ability to brace in whatever position they want, means that if you manage to put your Halberdiers in very dense formation, you can easily burst down charging units. However, this approach is very vulnerable to CC, and if you fail to kill enemies on impact, you will have a problem, because follow-up DPS is quite low. The Phalanx or F2 formation has lower impact damage and the passive damage ticks aren't that frequent. It's also harder to control because Halberdiers need to form up completely before engaging enemies. Additionally, if your units gets overwhelmed, they will stop fighting because they will try to fix their positions. However, even with these disadvantages, I still believe that Phalanx is much stronger than loose formation. The reason is that damage and attack speed of Phalanx is just insane when compared to the loose formation. And the above issues can be somewhat avoided if you position your unit correctly. It's also worth noting that braced Halberdiers will turn to their enemies. It makes them easier to use because you don't have to worry about flankers. Keep in mind that Phalanx is better in such situations because most of the time your Halberdiers won't turn in time to make use of the bonus impact damage. And Phalanx just turns faster. The turning around is extremely useful, especially when you are getting flanked by Golden Cavalry or players who try to dive your artillery or range units. With all that said, remember that it's also okay to use Halberdiers without brace. If you got caught, it might be better to press V than to brace in an awkward position. But if your Halberdiers are somewhat grouped and there are not that many enemies, then use Phalanx instead. Halberdiers also have a charge. Personally, I just pretend that it doesn't exist because its damage is very low. However, if you want to use it, make sure to be in F1 formation and brace right after you deal the first round of damage. If you try that in Phalanx, your Halberdiers will try to form up in the middle of enemies and die. Let's take a look at their Veterancy now. Bottom line improves their brace and the top line improves their charge. If you paid attention, you can probably figure that the bottom line is the choice here. Your Halberdiers will spend most of their lives in brace, so it's only logical to improve it even further. And for the Doctrines, the stun on brace is a must. The pike defense doctrine is also a nice choice when high tier cavalry comes into play. Although it reduces damage of Outriders, I don't think it's worth using in Silver Era matches. As for the rest, it's all about the damage. So, Siege Fighter, first epic polearm doctrine, breakthrough and assassination are all good choices. I would avoid the bonus damage on brace because it doesn't work in Phalanx. Currently, I'm using the epic piercing damage doctrine in the last slot and I will probably switch to pike defense when the seasonal seal will be unlocked. I would advise against piercing penetration though, because it's already very high. Okay, time for some tips. When you use Halberdiers, your goal is to have them in Phalanx formation and not having enemies in between them. To achieve that, you have to remember that you cannot solo with Halberdiers. You need some other unit which will act as a wall between your Halbs and the enemies. You also have to keep in mind that each Halberdier can hit only 2 enemies at once, so if there are too many targets they can get easily overwhelmed. Their block break is also not that great, so shielded units can cause you a lot of problems. If you want to make some cheese move with densely packed F1 formation, then use the charge into a brace trick. You charge your halves into the corner while aiming at the sky. It will make them all slide into one spot. When they are stuck, then use F1 to orient them in the proper direction and brace. Sometimes some of them won't brace, so you will need to press X and brace again. To be honest, I never found any use for this, but yeah. The last thing I wanted to mention is that Halberdier Sergeants are basically the same unit and everything I said applies to them too. Only difference is that you don't need the stun doctrine because they get it from Veterancy and they have an easier time stacking their F1 formation. All you need to do is put them in circle, use F1 to orient them and brace. They are also tankier, so they do somewhat better on their own. Actually, during editing of this video I found one more trick. If you are in Phalanx formation and then you press C and then use brace, your Halberdiers will brace in the loose formation while still enjoying the increased damage. I would just say that it seems to be much more effective because, for example, it allows blue halbs to easily kill berserkers, which they just couldn't do in the other formations. It's even better on Halberdier Sergeants because they take a much denser formation from the very beginning. I didn't have many opportunities to test it in regular matches because I literally just discovered it, but brief testing showed that it helps with the repositioning issue which haunts the F2 formations. So yeah, try Halberdiers out. Surprisingly, not many players know about the crazy damage output of Phalanx formation and you will get a lot of kills on unsuspecting heroes. Just make sure to hide behind some other unit and avoid eating frontal charges from shielded foes. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you found this video useful. You can also check out the membership option and content creator packs. Details are in the description. If you want to be notified about giveaways I do, then make sure to join my Discord. Link is in the description. Thank you for watching and see you next time.